What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Dirty Mike, and today we have another episode of 40 in 40 where I take you along with my journey through the weekend league. And I apologize, last week's episode, I didn't get it out. Not in time. I felt like I had missed the trend, that you guys didn't want to watch the 40 in 40 by the time I could get it edited and uploaded. This video takes a while, so if you enjoy it, please drop a thumbs up. And no, I'm not making any excuses. Last week was a rough one. I had 2 disconnects, should have had 35 wins, ended up with 33. One of the worst weekends I've actually had in terms of being able to complete a weekend league and my final result. And I do have a good question, which I'm going to bring into a major topic in this video, and I'd love to hear what you guys have going on in the comments. So let's discuss this. Let's open it up for some good dialogue. When you lose a match in FUT Champions, what do you feel is the best way to rebuttal, to come back from? What do you need to do to get your mind right? Because we often start a slippery slope when you're playing FIFA, and that can be a disaster. Because once you've been triggered, once you're upset, once you got the rage, things will be broken, and you're going to increase the loss tally. You can count on it. So I want to know what you guys do, but I'm going to bring that up a little bit later in the video. If you need to get those snapbacks on that discount tip, a little custom action, roll clip.
Catbeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
Let's get this goodness underway. Game numero uno. And my opponent has attribute cards. And we're going to talk about that. And I want to discuss the squad. You saw my before. You saw my after. I'm still using the bronze bench. Does it matter? It's up for debate. I prefer the bronze bench because I feel that an 84 threshold when playing online, it doesn't happen often for me, but I still feel a handicap. And that's just my opinion. It could be a placebo, it could be mental, but that's just been where I'm at. And I want to know, do you guys want to see me drop a tutorial on these finesse shots? Because if you've been watching my gameplay, you've been analyzing the gameplay over the year, I haven't used that many finesse shots until recently. I've really started developing in my gameplay and kind of finding the correct creases, the openings, how to split the defense. I find a lot more value in scoring finesse shots, and you might see Mr. Kluivert in the first 10 to 15 games. I didn't switch to Griezmann until we got to a point where I just sat down, I was analyzing, I was saying some of the goals you're scoring or some of the chances you're missing, you can't do this. Not at the higher levels in FUT Champions. It's all about consistency, excuse me. Messed that up runtime. Sometimes my mind is moving. We got a late commentary tonight as well. But I felt that Kluivert on the left side of the pitch was causing some issues or missing some chances that I knew I could finish with a left-footed player. So whether you wanted to go with a Gareth Bale or you wanted to go with the likes of Griezmann, I chose to go with Griezmann. I had kind of shied away from him over the last few weekends, and Bale just hit a point where I didn't want to use him up front anymore. Now as a center mid, brilliant. Left center mid, cross the body, and that's why you want a left-footed player. I know the finesse shot on the near post and some of the finishing on the near post is better. I don't know if it's a new patch or some gameplay adjustments or we're just getting more used to playing FIFA, but it feels as if it has improved. However, it's still all about across the body. If you have that as an option, then go for it. Please use it. Good things will happen. And a lot of my team is very similar to some of the past weekends. You still got Georgie Best, who is the best cam that I've used in FIFA. I've tried out many cams. If you've got a top 3 you want to drop, and if you're on the PlayStation, then you might have a little bit of a different opinion, but I'd love to hear your top 3 center attacking midfielders in terms of guys that are going to create your plays, that premium build-up, the 1-2, the tiki-taka, the long shot, the overall package. They're just brilliant. They're outstanding. You can rely on them. They're going to deliver the goods. That's what we're talking about, that premium goods. Gotta make sure to come out of here with that heavy pronunciation. But in the midfield, we've seen the same midfield for a long time. If you're on the Xbox, Hullet, Vieira, and Pogba is a good group. Now, if you're on the PlayStation, I actually really enjoyed using that Team of the Year Marcelo card, but just not as a left back. Last weekend, I tried him as a left back, and I'm not sure if it was myself that was at fault. I teamed him up. It was Marcelo and Alexi Lalas, and they were out of position way too often. And I think it's my fault as a structured defender, someone who likes to be organized. I should have known that there was room for error. You've got a low-high work rate with Alexi Lalas. And then you've got Marcelo, who's just more prone. He's got that mentality where he's looking to score goals. He's looking to go forward. And there's not a better left back. There might not even be a better fullback in terms of attacking capabilities or confidence on the ball. And you could see it. It flourishes. The skill moves, the movement, the long shots, the dribbling, the first touches. Just the way that he commands the match. You can appreciate it. But that's kind of my review on Marcelo. I would love to see him as a center mid, though. I feel that's his perfect position. If I didn't have Legends on the Xbox, Marcelo is playing center mid, and he might even be playing center mid over the likes of a Team of the Year Modric, which is kind of a big claim. But I want to know, if you guys have cams that you want to talk about, PlayStation, Xbox, I'm here, I'm listening. You know, we're going to go back and forth in the comments, but I don't need to discuss the midfield all that often. Now, the big place that I'm trying to figure out what I want to use, because at the end of the day, I have the Vancouver Regional coming up soon, April 8th. I want to perform well, or I at least want to put myself in the ultimate position to perform well for you guys. I try to put more pressure. I think that's when people start messing up, is when you put the weight of all the subscribers or the viewership or just your personal expectations, and you start pushing on yourself, don't do that. You try to keep it very easy, free-flowing. If you perform, you show up good, but you better have a plan, and you want to keep it simple. Simplicity is always going to be a good portion of the recipe for success. When you start overdoing, and I've been guilty of this. If you watch my live stream, I'm guilty of this. If you watch my gameplay, I'm guilty of this. Where you go for the extra pass, the extra skill move. You try to be cute. You try to have a little bit of some flair, and it looks good on YouTube. But when you're at that pro level, or you're going to events where it's all about winning. There is no second place prize. Well, I guess in this event, I guess top 3 wouldn't be bad. But either way, you are going for gold. There's only going to be one victor at these types of events, and it's going to be sweaty. It's going to be disgusting. There's going to be hoe activity. Alright, strip clubs were never like FUT Champions. Prostitution, never like FUT Champions. Whorehouses do not compare. The levels of nastiness and sweat and probably some STDs that could be shared, it happens in FUT Champs, alright? There is no condom usage. You're just getting it raw and uncut. It's rough. Let's move on. We need to talk about a different subject. On a side note, thank you guys so much for all the support with the #United signing. Very proud to represent that organization. I know I talked about it in a standalone video, but I had other opportunities. I just felt most comfortable to kind of summarize that video with going to hashtag and being among friends or people that already had a relationship with Spencer, and we had Tass and Yvonne. Hey, Harry's a little bit new for me. I haven't met him in person yet. I really haven't spoke to him a lot online, but I already knew 3 out of the 4 in the group that I was going to deal with on a frequent basis, and that counts for something for me. I'm a big time person I'm a big guy that comes down to relationships, I should say. I think relationships matter, and how you build them up and how they flourish over time, and just getting to know people a little bit, right? You know, you're figuring out what kind of character you're dealing with. And the same goes when you're joining an organization, when you're paralleling or aligning brands. You want to make sure that you're comfortable. If you were going to work a job, let's say nothing to do with gaming, the company climate is crucial. Do you get along with your coworkers? Do you like the people that you're spending time with or you're talking to on a frequent basis? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't work there. It's that important, unless you guys are just making that much money together and you can handle the business relationship. But overall, you don't want to stress about, oh man, I've got to perform like this, or this guy doesn't like me, I'm concerned, or I wonder what this person views me as, or how do they perceive, etc. You don't want to have to overthink everything, alright? But back to the point at hand. I'm trying to prepare for Vancouver, and that's where I wanted to adjust the defense. I didn't think I was going to bring Alaba and Boateng into the regional, so that's why I started making changes. I love this Sandro card, this inform, highly recommended, 2 thumbs up. I like him better than Marcelo for me. It's just positioning, physicality, defending, I like it. It's been a good look. The first time that I tried Blanc and Ferdinand together, it hasn't been bad, as you're going to see with my results here. This is a good weekend, and I don't want to spoil anything in the video, but I even think it could have been a better weekend. We can talk about it as the video kind of pushes forward. But Ferdinand and Blanc, they're both legends. They feel like legends, and they have the ability to intercept, to dictate the pitch and the speed of play, and They need to make fouls, they can make fouls. They need to make tackles, they can make tackles. They need to make interceptions, they got you. It's not an issue. You got to be a little bit careful, I think, with Ferdinand's positioning. He is fast, though, so he will recover. But some of this comes down to how much of a manual defender are you, and that's another point that I kind of want to open up. Because if you just run back the midfield, can that get you places in this year's installment? Sure. Are you going to win events with that strategy? No. Are you going to consistently be Elite 1 with that strategy? No, because there's just too many good people. And once somebody scores against you, if you don't understand how to increase the pressure because all you do is run back the midfield, you're in a bad situation. So can it work? Can it frustrate somebody early on in the game? Sure. Absolutely, no problem. But once you go down, how are you going to up the tempo, the pressure, the double teams, the teammate contain, the traps? How are you going to bait people? Because that's not what you do. That's not how you learned how to defend. You're more of the submissive type, the passive defender, and that's not going to work in the long run, I promise. You don't have to just listen to me. Many pro players or many competitive players will keep that on repeat, that at the end of the day, you've got to be confident in yourself being able to make that challenge, to make that tackle, to intercept that pass manually. And you get the most out of your players on the pitch if you are able to anticipate everything and move players all at once in a way. And what I mean by all at once is being able to move 2 to 4 players very quickly, like a little sidestep with this defender, then you go back to the midfielder, then you go back to the defender. These quick switches separates what makes somebody sometimes, oh, he's above average, or he's good, or he's great. We're talking about the differences right there with defending, is how well you read a game and then how quickly you can adjust to what you're seeing. So there might be an age range on competitive gaming, because you've got to see it, believe it, and make a switch. You have to be confident with whatever way you have to react to put this all together in one beautiful segment of defensive pressure. But back to the team, right back Kyle Walker. I don't have the upgraded one. I probably should get him, but I just left it alone. And then Manuel Neuer. He's been my goalkeeper of choice, and it's been pretty good for me, so we've left it alone. If it's not broken, I'm not going to go searching for a new option. I like De Gea. I'd love to try Van der Sar on one of these weekends, but he's just been good. Neuer's been pretty consistent. It's hard to really get away from a keeper that you understand his preferences, you know kind of what he's going to save every once in a while. Will he have an off game? Sure. Welcome to goalkeeping in FIFA. It's not perfect. There are mistakes. That's always going to happen in FIFA, and that's why you're always going to have forum topics about stupid goals you conceded, and it's just part of the game. There will never be a goalkeeper that saves every single chance or is able to block shots that maybe it's just not going to be like that, okay? In real life, goalkeepers make mistakes. In FIFA, goalkeepers make mistakes, and that's always been one of the kind of random factors, sort of like hitting the post. That's always been a characteristic of FIFA and real football as well, and it's not going anywhere. You can smash the crossbar, you can smash the post, you can get a rebound out of it, it could go out of play, it can happen multiple times in a match. If you take a lot of long shots, your percentage is increased. It is what it is. And now custom tactics, what I've changed, and I don't know if I have an example in this video yet, but basically it's my same custom tactics, and I can put it in the comments if I don't include it in the video, but the defense is all I've adjusted now. My pressure is up to 50. It used to be at 40. I felt like I need a little more heat that I was bringing people, especially if I'm flowing well. My rhythm is all good. So my pressure is at 50 and my width is down to like 40. So we have 40 width, 45 aggression, 50 for pressure. So a little more in your face, a little more aggressive. But when your teams start getting to this sort of rating, it benefits you to be able to kind of decide how fast or how slow things are moving and grooving. And I actually think this game right here that you're seeing, and a good friend of mine against Ulibarri, the top player in Mexico, I was really surprised we got matched up this early, and thankfully I had a great game. There's not much more to it. I had a better team and I had a great game, and I think the scoreline made me look really good, and I like it. I like when that happens, because you never know when you're playing the weekend league, are you going to generate the best you? Are you going to generate the B level or the C level? Are you getting lucky bounces? What's happening? And that's where I like to edit up with these types of content. Whether I'm playing well or I'm not playing great, it's good to rewatch and decide what kind of shots did I need to take, where was I screwing up in my build-up, and that's kind of where the 40 and 40 series I know offers you guys insight at home, and then it also also allows me to gather more information and analysis regarding even my own gameplay, where I'm like, oh damn dude, this is where you made the mistake. Because when it's happening, sometimes you're caught in the moment and you don't see your own error. Other times you notice it all, but it's good to rewatch and analyze. I always recommend it to people. If you're a live streamer, if you're a content producer, if you're just interested in being better, watch your gameplay. Let's talk about defending just a little bit more. I know I talked about it briefly, and I was trying to stress that manual defending is the only way if you want to be a competitive level player. You don't want to train to get by, to maybe just get to Division 1. There's steps and there's progression to improving your results and your consistency. But the big difference between the guys that are posting 1,000 wins and 100 losses. I didn't even post that this year. I think I had 1,200. I think I'm at 1,100 wins to 200 losses right now, which is okay. I mean, granted, I have had some disconnects. Unfortunately, or fortunately, plenty of my losses actually come to the subs. I've got some really talented subscribers that I play on stream, such as professional player FUT Wiz, Louis, Noah Goat, Edco, just a few that come to mind that definitely can be a result that we trade right off the rip. We could trade that result because these guys are Elite 1+ players. Yeah, actually, I'll name some more. We'll name drop a little bit. I think the Illusionist is right there. Bazillion I've played. These are all Elite 1+ players, so 34+ wins. Marbs, or not Marbs, Mars Bars, excuse me, sorry, got that mixed up. Actually, Marbs and I've played before, but he's not someone that's real active in terms of the stream game. Every once in a while I'll see him pop in, but these are guys that I'll frequently match up with, and you're gonna go win, loss, draw. It's gonna happen more often, which can affect your record a little bit, but that's not what it's all about. You just want to make sure you're getting something out of that. Are you learning something? Is your build up good? Are you able to put together the ones and the twos that you need to, you know, turntable style? Let's talk about defending. And I talked about it briefly before. We're getting into it right now, where I said, look, you need to be able to have a mastery of being able to move 2 to 3 to 4 players very quickly, and that deals with your traps. And let me talk about it a little bit more, and I might do another defensive tutorial. It's something that's always requested, and I make a lot of them, but it's almost a tutorial that I think I could drop every single week. You guys should let me know in the comments. But when we're looking at defending, okay, paying attention, if you're able to switch players to multiple guys very quickly, and then little movements, a little sidestep this way, a little sidestep that way, it closes down angles for passing, or for build-up creation, okay? You can force people out wide that way. And same with chasing back. When I watch people's gameplay, or I analyze people's gameplay, and I do private lessons quite often as well, a lot of the mistakes are holding on to players too long on the defensive end, where they might have Conte and they run with Conte, or my opponent runs with Conte and he just refuses to let go of him. He's scared to take a center back. He's scared to try to make a recovery with this other guy, or maybe there's another center mid or a CDM that's closer and you need to switch real quick and then back to Conte. And that's where I start seeing a lot of errors, is holding on to players too long. And can it get you by, is what I was talking about before. Can you still get results? Can you still win games? Yes, sure. Especially if your offense is nice. But are you going to create the best consistency? Are you going to win Division 1 all day? Are you going to dominate the FUT champs? No, you're not beating the top guys. I don't care who you are. You aren't going to beat them consistently with just a good run back strategy. No. Even if your offense is nasty, even if your offense is dirty, even if your offense is sweaty, just all sorts of different, not negative references, but, you know, getting in that mud puddle together. But that's the big difference on the defensive end. And that in confidence, man, that game I lost, I was so salty. Hopefully it's on screen here. Full attribute cards. And I want to make a dedicated video kind of to talk about attribute cards, not just because of that game, but I've seen people talk about, oh, attribute cards don't matter, and other people say, oh my goodness, they matter a ton. And I want to weigh in on this because I know where I fall. I don't think they should be in this game mode, though, just because if they're not allowed in the regional, then they shouldn't be in the qualifying section or the qualifying event for the regionals. Logically speaking, and that's how I look at it, many things in life, logically, that doesn't make sense. Okay, you can qualify doing this, but when you get to the real event where the money's on the line and people are watching, no, it's It's not for you. I'm trying to think of a solid metaphor. It's, you guys know I'm all about that food life. It's like if Taco Bell, that's a bad metaphor, but if Taco Bell advertised for a product and then when you got to Taco Bell you couldn't order the product. So all you can do is watch it on TV. Like, damn, that product looks great. That's a fantastic product. And then you get there and you're like, oh, by the way, we don't sell that. Sorry. It's not gonna happen for you. I'd be so mad if I couldn't get a Baja Blast Freeze. Well, that Starburst Freeze is nice too. Oh, it makes me feel a certain way. I'm just thinking about my man Taco Bell. Everybody's got their fast food that they have trouble getting away from. That's mine right there. But I've been great about not eating out, especially since FUT Champs makes you kind of unhealthy if you're doing this every weekend. Unless you're extremely dedicated to the gym, you end up sitting here grinding games, getting practice matches in, and before you know it, you ran out of time and you no longer are going to the gym, or you're tired, or you're stressed out. I'm not doing this. And speaking of FUT Champs, let's transition. I want to talk about how do you come back from when you lose a match, or you're starting your losing streak, whatever it might be. Because this is a frequent question I get when I'm on the live stream, twitch.tv/DirtyMike. That was a real sus plug right there. But when you're looking at how to deal with a loss, basically, because you don't want one loss to turn into two losses to turn into 3 or 4. That's no good. When you start a negative streak, all hell is going to let loose. And number one for me, walk away. Walk away. If I lose a game, I didn't like my form, or I just think it's a bad beat. Maybe I feel like I deserve to win. Either way, I've got to sit there and kind of be honest with myself. And that's number 2. Be honest with yourself. You've played a lot of FIFA. I've played a lot of FIFA. Are you at a point where you're close to getting tilted? Are you at a point where you're frustrated? Are you at a point where you're not ready to let that game go from the one before? Are you going to carry that into the next match? I'm guilty of this. Something I love to do. I sometimes will carry a result for 3 or 4 matches where I'm still pissed that I missed a one-on-one. Or that I still feel unlucky about the result from a game that happened 2 or 3 matches prior, 3 or 4 games before. That's no good. So, remember this. Take a break. Please take a break. Be honest with yourself. Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling like you don't have good control of the game? Are you a little bit tilted? Is your rage meter, it's rising? Be honest with yourself. Okay. And now the last one is focus on simplicity. When things aren't going well for you, that's the worst time to start making the game more complicated. Don't start the slide tackle game everywhere. Don't add more pace control because you were having trouble before. No, keep it simple. Pass and move, pass and move, pass and move. Shield here. Look for openings, look for gaps, take shots. Allow yourself to get a lucky bounce. Okay? That's my 1, 2, and 3. I want to see what you guys have to say in the comments. There's probably more than 3 different ways to kind of chill out, to settle down. But I really think that time heals a lot of different issues in life, and even with gaming, it's one of those issues where taking 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from the game, turn off the console, walk away, can save you from starting this streak where you're not able to rebuttal. You're no longer able to get back in this match, and before you even started, you blew it. And on another side note, make sure to play at least a warm-up game before you get into FUT Champs. I think that's always going to be a good look. One of the games that I'm going to lose, I don't know if it's came through yet, but one of the games I'm going to lose, I think it's coming very soon. It was my first game on, and the guy wasn't bad at FIFA, but at the same time, I felt so disappointed in myself because I knew if I played him the next game or a couple games later, I think I played him in one of my 40 and 40s before, I would have won that game. Or I felt confident that I would have won that game. So that was like, what? It was just like some mistakes and some lack of crisp defensive movement. Some of that nice stick work, as I like to say. You know, that good confident analog movement. It wasn't there for me just yet in the first game. Sometimes it takes me a game or two to kind of get going, or I have to have a bad half. And FUT Champs, that can cost you. And now I want to talk about a little bit more with attributes, okay? I'm going to dedicate a video to this, so we're not going to go into diving too deep now. But if you go up against somebody that has a ton of attribute cards, what can you expect? His team's going to be faster than your team. And you're going to notice a difference if he's using a bunch of overpowered players. So not the Vieiras and the Hullets and the Ronaldos and the Gareth Bales and the Griezmanns. These guys are high rated. Their stats, stat room stuffers, marquee players you want to have in the squad. Primetime performers. Superlative on superlative on superlative. They're fantastic. However, when you start getting all attribute cards on Kantes and Mertens and Lukaku's and Smallings and Kyle Walkers, and there's so many, and these guys are good on their own, good players. Some of them are even great players, but when you give them hundreds across, or 99s in this category and that category, and they never get tired, if you play someone who's aggressive, and you should be aggressive, you're going to use attributes, oh yeah, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Every weekend, all I do is hope to avoid disconnects, and after that, I'm trying to avoid as many of these full attribute teams as possible. If you play me with full attributes, you will get blocked. Just a heads up. Not because I lose the game or because I think it's I just don't want to play against it. It's that simple. For me, because I'm not using attributes, I don't want to play against something that I'm not using. And people make the argument, well, Mike, it's so expensive to get these players and to make this investment. And my reasoning is, if you're talking about players, those are accessible to everyone, for one, and they're accessible to everyone at an event. That's my only issue, or my only gripe with attribute cards, that you can't use them at the event. If I could use them at the event, and I could stick them on Ronaldo and George Best, and if I wanted to do all this, and that's not a problem, then no worries. We're good. Attribute cards, don't care. Doesn't affect me. Because it's open to everyone. But it's like poor practice or poor training. They're literally only doing it for that online result, and that bugs me. That irks me. The competitive nature I've got, I just can't support it. I don't think it's a good look. And it's expensive as hell to buy all attributes for your whole team. So if you can afford full attribute cards for your full squad throughout an entire 40 games, and I'd have to look at this, but the only way that it would even make sense is if you finish Elite 1 and up. You have to be a 34 plus win guy for it to make sense in terms of making coins, or possibly making coins. So if that's not you, then it can't even be beneficial. And then my argument, once again, we're talking about it. If you are gathering that many wins, then you're probably trying to qualify for the FIFA Interactive World Cup, the FUT Champions live event, and you can't use attribute cards in those events. But are they noticeable? Absolutely. And I'm going to do a dedicated video. I want to do a standalone where I show you examples and you can judge for yourself. If you haven't experienced a lot of going against attribute cards, then you guys can judge for yourself. Be like, damn, okay, players are moving or not. They look like they're going the same speed as you. And those players are supposed to be that fast, or they're supposed to be that speed, or they should never get, whatever it might be. You can make your own opinion. I will just present the information. I will present, I try to do an unbiased opinion, just an opinion, where I can say, look, when I'm playing, this is what I notice. And then you guys could take that for this, or you could take that for that. It's up to you. That is the beauty of YouTube. But if I'm EA and I make a competitive game mode, then you gotta have some rules. You have to have set ground rules. It is good that they got rid of hiding, or got rid of showing, I guess, that when your club was created, and of course your club name. At the same time, I'm sometimes upset because I end up playing so many people from South America, and I only got love for people from South America, but I don't love your internet, I don't love your connection, I don't love your distance. And one of the losses I took, I'll analyze the 3 losses. So we're going to get a spoiler. At this point, I'm going to go 37-3. Yeah, it's not a bad weekend. Good way to rebuttal that 33 that was just terrible with the disconnects, and I don't like you, Comcast. That comes down to that simple. But let's talk about it, okay? The 3 losses. Number 1. 0-0 game. I dominated the dude within those first 90 minutes, but I couldn't break through. He was just containing, and the connection was very slow. And I'm not saying the connection was only slow for me. I'm not looking for an excuse. I'm just stating what happened in the game. A 0-0 game with the type of squad I have and the type of team I think even he had, it shouldn't really happen. But when you're moving in slow-mo, you got delay. Oh, you have to embrace that slow connect. I think he was an opponent from Brazil as well, which for as big of a nation as many players as they have, even the talent, which has nothing to do with what I'm referencing, but the talent in terms of real footballers, you would think that their internet would be better. I just don't think Brazil has a good connection to the servers. All right, lost one. Lost two. My most unlucky game and my opponent's probably best luck. If any of the opponents I played, he probably had the best luck, and I had my worst luck of my 40. That's bad combo. Where I don't know what Neuer was doing on the second goal. I went against the full attribute team. I made the chances. I don't know how many pass across he blocked in that game. He had legit 3 shots, 3 goals. 100% accuracy. And I was just frustrated. After the second goal, which if you guys rewatch that, go back, check that out. Shoots it at Neuer, and Neuer like parried it into the net with his feet. It was kind of strange, kind of bizarre. One of the few moments that Neuer was bad, but boy was he bad. Lost that game. Wasn't the wasn't the happiest. And if I could play that game again, I feel very confident I'd win. Nothing changed. Like, even if he had the exact same squad, attribute cards and all, I still think this would have been fine. Third loss was a good player, and it was his time to kind of get that W. Unfortunately for me, first game on, wasn't that crisp. He took advantage. He played well. I think we had a pretty even game. He took his opportunities. He had a super sub from Douglas Costa, came in at halftime and scored 2 goals. But that's what happened. That's how the cookie crumbled. My defense also crumbled with that cookie. A couple bad errors, bad auto switching, or maybe not auto switching, bad switching in the box, and just, it's on me. But those were the 3 losses. But I'm a little bit disappointed. I still think 37 wins is great. It leaves us in a position to be in the top 100. But I felt, based on my performances, that I could have been 38, 39, or 40. All the games I played this weekend were winnable, and for the most part, as you're seeing these examples, I'm scoring a lot of goals, and I'm ahead. I'm not going down in many of these games. I'm always ahead. And if you score first, we all know that means that you're in a major advantage for winning an FUT Champs match and just controlling the game, controlling the flow, the rhythm. Is it slow? Is it fast? Is it wide? Is it in the middle? And I'm still using a lot of 4-2-3-1. Around halftime, if I'm already ahead, especially if I'm ahead by 2 goals, I want to change your look, basically, because I'm assuming my opponent, he's going to go more attacking. I'm assuming if you've seen me play through the middle, that maybe you're trying to take away some of that middle play, you're trying to pack me out. And while you're making that adjustment, I'm also adjusting and making some changes. Sometimes I'll bring on Kluivert as a sub. When Kluivert was playing up top, I was using Mertens as a super sub. Not bad. I had the, shoot, I don't even know what inform that is. I think it's his 2nd or 3rd. He's an 88 overall. But at this point in FIFA, I don't know what an 88 looks like for Mertens because he just has so many informs. I think his highest one is an 89. But we finished with 37, 93rd in the world, terrible skill rating. I did play a decent amount of matches on Monday. Skill rating is pretty simple. The more you play on Friday and Saturday, the higher skill rating. I wish that it wasn't like that. I wish it was more complicated, that it dealt more with matchups. But from experience, from talking to other pro players, we did an interview, and that's what Tass said as well, and I agree with them. When my skill rating's been higher is based on the days that I'm playing, and some of those days I just don't have the schedule that I'd like to have. Now, in terms of goals and assists, Ronaldo played next level. I mean, I'm accustomed to scoring goals. I'm accustomed to him putting up good assists, but 74 goals Ronaldo was responsible for. And if you asked if he's worth it, there you go. Hullet added 24, and he dropped 11 dimes. Pretty much worth it. Griezmann, he must have been 25 games, 17 and 14. I like it. Best, 16 goals to go with 26 assists. Really good numbers. And I scored 118 goals, so about 3 goals per game on average. I think it averages out to 2.95. If I'm wrong on my math, I'll feel stupid, but I think it's around that area. Total conceded 25. You guys saw I wasn't giving up goals on goals on goals. And that's pretty standard for me. Rage quits 12. I'm always over 10. Corners, a little bit of a letdown. 8's not very good for myself throughout 40 games. Usually I would say I could score at least 15 to 25 corner kicks. Clean sheets, 22. It's not amazing. It's solid though, but make sure to let me know in the comments down below, how do you deal with starting that slippery slope, starting to get angry, starting to have to rebuttal or to come back from that loss in FUT Champs? Because probably everybody that watches the video, you haven't gone 40 and 40, so you have to deal with a loss one way or another. I want to hear how that goes down. But until next time, my friends, peace.